35 Interesting facts about Cleopatra 7. Full name and title. She is commonly known as Cleopatra VII Philopator, the seventh Cleopatra of the Ptolemaic dynasty, and ruled as queen of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt. Dates of life and reign. Cleopatra was born in 69 or 70 BCE and died in 30 BCE. She reigned as the last active Ptolemaic pharaoh from 51 BCE until 30 BCE. After her death, Egypt became a Roman province. Last active Hellenistic ruler. She was the final active ruler of the Hellenistic age started by Alexander the Great. Her death marks the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty's rule. Ptolemaic Macedonian Greek origin. The Ptolemies were Macedonian Greeks who had ruled Egypt since Ptolemy I Soter, one of Alexander's generals, established the dynasty after Alexander's death. Cleopatra descended from this line. Multilingual and highly educated. Unlike many of her Ptolemaic predecessors, Cleopatra is recorded as speaking Koine Greek and Egyptian, and ancient sources claim she knew several other languages. Plutarch lists others, which helped her diplomatic reach. Savvy politician and diplomat. She presented herself as both a Hellenistic monarch and an Egyptian pharaoh, taking on Egyptian religious roles and iconography. A deliberate cultural and political strategy to secure Egyptian loyalty. Co-ruler with brothers and son. She first co-ruled with her younger brother Ptolemy X, later with Ptolemy XIV. Ultimately, she placed her son Ptolemy XV, nicknamed Caesarion, on the throne as co-ruler. Relationship with Julius Caesar. Cleopatra formed a political and personal alliance with Julius Caesar. They had a son, Caesarion. Her alliance with Rome's leading politician boosted her power, but also entangled Egypt in Roman politics. Alliance with Mark Antony. After Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra aligned with Mark Antony, politically and romantically, which led to their joint challenge against Octavian, later Augustus. Battle of Actium, 31 BCE. The decisive naval battle at Actium, Octavian versus Antony and Cleopatra, ended in Octavian's victory and sealed the downfall of Antony and Cleopatra's power. Political aims beyond romance. Cleopatra's alliances with Caesar and Antony were strategic. She sought to protect and restore Egypt's interests, and even hoped to reclaim or influence former Ptolemaic territories in North Africa and Asia. Caesarion Little Caesar. Caesarion Ptolemy XV was presented as Julius Caesar's son, and for a time as co-ruler. After Cleopatra's fall, he was captured and killed on Octavian's orders, ending the dynasty. Religious imagery and role. Cleopatra promoted herself as a living embodiment of the goddess Isis, a savvy move that fused Egyptian religious legitimacy with Hellenistic royal culture. Public image and theatrical diplomacy. Ancient writers describe Cleopatra as a brilliant performer of court ritual. She staged lavish receptions, spoke multiple languages to visitors, and used spectacle to impress diplomats. Plutarch's accounts highlight this theatrical diplomacy. Coins and portraiture. Contemporary coinage and a few surviving busts and portraits give historians clues about how she wanted to be seen, often with a Hellenistic royal profile, diadems, and sometimes Egyptian symbolism. Not just a seductress stereotype. Later Roman propaganda, especially Augustan-era accounts, emphasized her sexuality as a political weapon. Modern historians stress that her political acumen, language skills, and statecraft were more central to her power than mere seduction. Economic control and patronage. As queen, Cleopatra controlled a rich Egyptian economy. Grain exports were vital for Rome, and used patronage, building projects, and the royal treasury to fund armies and diplomatic gifts. Alexandria, her capital and cultural center. Alexandria, with its famous library, already partly diminished by her time and cosmopolitan population, was her political and intellectual base. The city remained a hub of Hellenistic learning and trade. Naval resources and fleet. Cleopatra maintained a fleet of ships that fought alongside Antony at Actium. Naval power was central to Mediterranean politics in her era. Use of propaganda and titles. She styled herself with regal epithets, e.g., Thea Philopator, God-born, beloved of her father, and used temples, coined legends, and inscriptions to broadcast legitimacy. Family intrigue and ruthless moves. The Ptolemaic court was marked by sibling rivalries and purges. Cleopatra's rise involved political maneuvering that likely included ruthless actions to secure her throne. Ancient sources mention the elimination of rivals. Cultural hybrid identity. Cleopatra's rule blended Greek, Egyptian, and Near Eastern elements. She was Hellenistic by dynasty, Egyptian in religious role, and cosmopolitan in outlook. Scholarly patronage. The royal court of Alexandria still attracted scholars, scientists, and thinkers. Cleopatra's image as a learned ruler is consistent with Alexandria's intellectual traditions. Medical and botanical interests. Ancient accounts and later tradition connect Cleopatra with pharmacology and cosmetics. Some legends credit experiments with poisons, perfumes, or cosmetics, though separating myth from fact is difficult. Cleopatra in Roman literature and drama. She became a favorite subject for Roman writers, e.g., Plutarch, Cassius Dio, and later a central figure in art, opera, and Shakespeare, Antony and Cleopatra, which shaped her posthumous image. Contested appearance. There is no universally agreed true face of Cleopatra. Surviving portraits vary and modern debates continue about how closely Roman-era images reflect her actual appearance. Debates over ethnicity and representation. Modern discussions sometimes misapply contemporary racial categories. Historically, Cleopatra was Macedonian Greek in paternal lineage, while her maternal ancestry is not definitively known. Scholars caution against projecting modern race concepts onto the ancient Mediterranean. End of an era. Her defeat and death led directly to Octavian consolidating power and establishing the Roman Empire under Augustus. Egypt's transition to a Roman province had major geopolitical consequences. Death traditional account. Ancient historians Plutarch, Dio report that Cleopatra died by suicide in 30 BCE, traditionally said to be by an asp, Egyptian cobra bite that she arranged, though ancient narratives vary. Death alternative theories. Modern historians have proposed other causes: poisoning, staged suicide, political execution, even carbon monoxide poisoning, and note that Roman sources and propaganda complicate the record. The exact circumstances remain debated. Legacy in art and popular culture. Cleopatra has been portrayed countless times, from ancient coin portraits to modern films, documentaries, and novels, and remains a symbol of female rulership, political cunning, and cultural hybridity. Numismatic evidence. Coins issued during her reign, often minted in Alexandria, are crucial primary sources for her title usage, portraits, and self-presentation. Surviving archaeological context. Finds around Alexandria and coastal sites, including underwater archaeology, keep adding data about late Ptolemaic urbanism, temples, and material culture connected to her era. Historiographical caution. Because much of our narrative comes from Roman or Greek historians with political agendas, historians today read ancient sources critically, cross-referencing archaeology, coins, and inscriptions. Why she still matters. Cleopatra is a window into the late Hellenistic world, cultural exchange in the Mediterranean, the role of women in ancient politics, and how later empires like Rome rewrote rival histories.